Hi there. Welcome to Granny Rocks Our World. I am Beth Green, and I'm also known as Granny Rocks and everything in between. So tonight I'm going to be addressing a question: when are we thinking big, and when are we delusional? So I hope someone else relates to this topic tonight. But before I get into it, first I am going to introduce you to Sweet Baby James, who's going to introduce our show.
Yes, welcome to GROW, which stands for Granny Rocks Our World. And Granny Rocks Our World every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And she shares her wit, wisdom, and uncommon sense. And it's always very interesting.
Well, I'm glad you think so.
Thought-provoking.
Well, that's true. I'm always provoking. So now I just want you to notice that I got really spiffed up tonight. I put a scarf over my old bathrobe. So, everybody should feel honored that I'm really taking my job seriously here.
Christine says hi.
Hi, Christine. So, are we thinking big, or are we thinking, or when are we thinking big, and when are we delusional? See, I'm thinking without my glasses. That's my problem. Okay, so, I've been giving this a lot of thought because I've got a lot of plans for things that I want to do, and I've been thinking big, way bigger than usual. Okay, Erica says hello back, Erica. Oh my God, REA says hi, Granny and SBJ. Hi, REA. And Tracy says hello, and we say hello back. So say hello to us, and we'll say hello back to you. So, when are we thinking big? Well, first I want to say that the biggest difference. Oh, hi, Mary Chris. Hi. We're thinking big when we feel guided to do something, and we're not coming from the ego. We're delusional when we're making the whole thing up. Now, it's not always easy to tell, but I'm going to give us some tips on how we can tell one way or the other. The first thing that comes to my mind is, has no human being ever done it ever before? That may be a clue that you're delusional.
But you do a lot of that.
Well, yes and no. Okay, Todd and Christine say hi. Thank you, Todd. Except Christine already said hi. So there you go. But we're very high. That's another thing. If you're on drugs, you're probably delusional.
We get high with a little help from our friends.
That's right. But what I mean is that, for example, if you're saying, I'm going to jump off the top of a building and I'm going to fly without any kind of apparatus or parachute or anything, that's been tried. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody has done that yet. So probably if you think you're going to do that, that's delusional. Okay, you see what I mean?
You mean Superman is a delusion?
No, but Superman has the special shirt. He's not just jumping off the top of the building. If you had his special shirt, you could probably do the same. So the first thing is, has any human being ever done it? Then the second thing that you should take a look at is, do you have the talent and the skills to do it? All right, let's say, hello. Helen says Helen and Richard are here. Hello, welcome. So, do you have the talent for this, right? So let's say that someone has done the quadruple axel in some, whatever those things are called, an ice skating. And you're just getting started, and you have fallen on or you've been doing it for 10 years, but you're still having trouble with one single loop, or whatever those things are called, right? So the idea that you're going to do a whatever
quadruple axel.
Well, quadruple would be 4, but 5-oople axel. That sounds delusional, doesn't it? Because you're not showing that you have that capacity or those skills. So you're probably kidding yourself, right? And then you should be asking yourself, why am I engaging in this delusional thinking? What can I do, and what should I be doing, right? See, delusions are often avoidance of what we actually can do and should do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So that isn't thinking big. Now, another thing that you notice when you're delusional is that you're talking about it more than doing it. For instance, you're saying, oh, I have this idea and it's the greatest idea on the planet. You go around, you tell everybody you know about your great invention that you've come up with, right? But you haven't done a thing on that invention to create it. What does that tell
You're
you?
being delusional.
You're being delusional. You yourself know you're not going to do it. So you're not even going to try. You don't want to be embarrassed by reality, do you? So that's delusional thinking. Now, what about thinking big? Can we have a few words on thinking big, Beth?
Please.
Yeah, I think I can maybe do that. Thinking big means you really ask yourself, what is the need and can I meet it?
Hmm.
So you don't just say, now, I don't want to confuse you because you have to start out with the question of what can I do, right? What am I capable
right.
of? And I'm not trying to take that away. But in addition to what can I do, I also have to look at what is the need. Because if I feel like I can do something, for instance, I am going to make a business out of chocolate covered raw fish heads. I can do this, right? I can cut off those. I personally could never do it because I can't look at a dead fish head, their eyes. I mean, it always made me sick. So this is the most disgusting thing I could have come up with. But anyway, I could do it. I could take my life savings and get a factory to make chocolate covered raw fish heads. But I haven't been thinking about the other question of, is it needed? Is there a need for it? Is there a desire for it? You see what I mean? So it isn't just a question of what can I do. It's like, what can I do that actually fits in with what is needed in our world? Now that's the beginning of really thinking big. That's when we're looking at what is necessary and evaluating our own capacities, talents, and skills. And then we have to look at another thing to see if we're delusional or we're in reality. It's, are we really checking in on our motivation? Not only what is motivating us, but how much motivation do we actually have? You know, if we're noticing that we're dreaming a lot, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm starting tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes, that could suggest either that you're blocked from your great destiny or that you actually have no motivation to do this or skills and so on. Okay, we have a comment. Amy said, hi, everyone. I love this topic. Thank you. It keeps me thinking about what is for the highest good and not just my own ideas. I think that's really, really important. So we look at that, we look at our behavior and to evaluate the level of motivation we have. Now, everybody hits fear, or I shouldn't say everybody. I don't know everybody, and I haven't done a poll of everybody. And James always comments on the fact that I'm always speaking in like hyperbole because I'm from New York.
You just did a hyperbole. I always
do that. I am from New York, and so that's the style. But anyway, so what was I saying before I got myself off on my hyperbole?
Think about with the highest good, doing what's with the highest good.
I have no idea what I was. If anybody remembers what I was talking about, would you please drop me a chat here? So, okay. So we have to look at all these. Oh, yes, it was about what is the motivation. Is it the level of motivation or it is the quality of motivation? We have to look at both things. If I am motivated to prove something to my mother, Erica said fear. Oh, yes, fear. So let's go back to, I'm so glad you remembered that I was talking about fear. So fear and motivation go together, don't they? Do I have enough motivation to overcome my fear? I was saying that, thank you, Erica, that so many people have fear. All of us have fear. We can walk past it. The question is, do we have enough motivation, talent, drive to overcome that fear, to take the step towards realizing this big thing? And sometimes thinking big is getting out of bed in the morning. I want you to know that. A lot of days, I cannot get out of bed. because I'm chronically ill. And, that's why I'm usually in a robe. It's a big day when I'm wearing clothes. I mean, that's a big day because it takes a lot of energy. So I'm thinking, oh, am I going to get dressed today? Should I get dressed? What's my motivation? Am I trying to prove something? Is it really necessary? Do you give a damn whether I'm dressed or I'm not dressed? If I wash this robe, wouldn't that just be fine? But who has the energy to wash the robe, right? I'd rather come here. So we look at things that may seem small to other people and they're very big to us. Guys, bless you if you are willing to try to do something that's big for you. If you notice, for example, that you always have excuses for not doing something, one day the excuse is I don't have the money. Then when you do have the money, you have to find another excuse, right? And you can just multiply. It's not the right time. It's not whatever. It didn't just sync up, right? Those sound like a bunch of excuses. It may be a major big deal for you to do that very thing, right? And for someone else, that major big deal may be going to Carnegie Hall to play. Helen said, it's all relative, isn't it? It certainly is, Helen. What is big for one is not big for another. I do counseling all the time. I now play the piano live in front of people all the time. It's no biggie, I put on my intuition, and I have amazing intuition. It's no big thing for me. That's not the stretch. The stretch for me might be thinking about how I'm going to get this music out there. And that is the big stretch. I mean, I am going through a huge stretch now. I am thinking big, and I'm getting ideas. I'll tell you something else. When you are thinking big, you are opening yourself to the power of the universe. So the universe is either going to say, you are being a complete jerk and you're delusional and go to bed because that's where you belong. Or things will start coming to you. Or coincidences may happen. Now, never blame yourself if your great plans fall to pieces. Just thinking big may be your big. It may be a big deal for you to think big, and the rest of it doesn't matter. So appreciate whatever you're accomplishing, and always be willing to ask yourself, is my ego telling me that I need to do this in order to prove how incredibly, fantastically, absolutely fabulous I am? Am I proving something to my mother, my father, my spouse, to myself, to God? Or am I just feeling that I'm riding the wave? Those of us, when we're lucky, and it actually happens, the miracles start happening, we have opened ourselves for the miracle. We didn't make it happen. I could tell you how many times in my life that miracles have happened that I have taken for granted because they happened. But they are miraculous. And it didn't all come out of my mind. I didn't plan it. What I was able to do was to ride the energy of the river that was moving. See, if you can hook up to a power greater than yourself, then thinking big becomes something that you can do. Maybe not even, to realize, maybe not in the form you originally envisioned, because that's thinking small. Just because you have an idea in your head. Helen says, so true, we open ourselves to allow the universe to come through us. Exactly. We always think small because we are small. We don't have the perspective. We don't have the ability to see all the factors that are within the universe, that we just don't have that capacity to see. So when we're thinking and just thinking with our heads, we are thinking small because we're thinking. When we allow ourselves to think bigger, to have new ideas come into our minds. And then we say, my God, how did I think of that? Well, you probably didn't. So check out your motives. See if you're trying to pretend something about yourself. See if you're trying to do something that's never been done. See if you actually have the skills to pull it off. And then let it rip. If you still feel called to try something, try it. It doesn't matter whether or not it happened. Breaking out of the mold of thinking small might be the best thing that you ever did for yourself. So, as we wrap up tonight, my goodness, the time has flown. Please like this show or love it or whatever you do. Please share it. Let people know about it. Let people know about Grow. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time. And next Wednesday, we have Growth. And hopefully this time, the post is going to have the right information. But I'll tell you, regardless, you can go to the events. Helen said, I love it. Fabulous. Thank you. Go to the events and you will see Growth. Granny rocks our world to heal. It's a kind of an elliptical picture of me looking very saintly. But you know what I really look like. So anyway, that's a meeting that we have, a video conference that we have every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, a few minutes after the show. It's great. Think about signing up. It's terrific. We're having an intuition training that's starting at the end of April. We've got a retreat up here in Oregon in May on the 4th. All of these things are listed in events. And I'm starting a new thing altogether, which is your personal song. I sit down intuitively. I just intuit your song. It's the song that is you on the inside. And I do it in a session, and it's called Solo, SOUL -O piano, personal session and song. So
And I must say that you did the first one for me, and I've been a changed man ever since.
So if that's a very
For the
powerful
better.
thing. So I'm thinking big about that. I'm thinking the world everybody needs their own song. And how am I going to get it out there? So what is the universe going to do to make that happen? That's the question. So that, you see, I'm going through it too. So I hope you related. Please comment if you haven't already. I always get to your comments eventually. You know what I mean? After the show, if you get them in, I will respond to you. And keep up the momentum of Grow. Let's grow together.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.